Hello, everyone, and welcome to Retention Chronicles. So glad to have you back. Today, we have a very special guest. Cavelle, thank you for joining us. I'm so glad to have you here today. It's your first podcast, so that's going to be such an exciting ride. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us where you work, your background, kind of what got you to the point you are here today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here. Um, yeah, I can definitely tell you a little bit about myself. I I work for Pendleton, Canada as the brand manager, and I started working with the brand in 2011. I was managing my aunt's store, Mother Earth Essentials. She was a retailer of Pendleton product, and that's when I was introduced to and really fell in love with the brand. In 2015, I was hired on with Manitoba Mucklucks as a store manager and eventually was promoted to their district manager of their pop-up shops in Western Canada. So they had stores in Calgary and Edmonton. At that time, Manitoba Mucklucks was the distributor for Pendleton in Canada. So they had a selection of Pendleton in their stores, and I was able to continue working with the brand as I worked with them. And then finally in 2020, through COVID, some changes were made, and I was hired on with Ray Fine Enterprises, who is the current distributor of Pendleton in Canada. And I currently work as the brand manager, which has a focus on sales and marketing, but also there's a small team in Canada, so I dip my toes and I wear many hats with the company, which gives me a really cool opportunity to be entrepreneurial within my role. And I find it super satisfying to look back and see the labors of my effort actually helping to grow the brand, the efforts of my labor actually helping to grow the brand in Canada.
Yeah, I love it. That's so exciting. So, a couple of things. It's a total personal detour, but we're gonna go there because I love it. Um, I so where are you? I should have asked you before we hopped on the call, but where do you currently reside in?
I'm in Hinton, which is a little town just outside of Jasper. Most people know where Jasper is.
Okay, yes. I figured you were near Jasper, just because what we were talking about before the call. But I am a dual citizen to Canada. Both my parents are
Okay.
Canadian, currently here in the States, but my father's from Toronto and my mother's from Nova Scotia. So grew up as a kid and still now going to see all my extended family who's still in Canada. Haven't made it to Jasper, so fingers crossed I'll make
Beautiful.
it
You
there.
should definitely go.
Yes. I mean, I definitely know how beautiful it is. The pictures are stunning. So it's on my to-do list, on my bucket list, that's for sure. Um, so I love that you're part of the Canadian store and have had your background in Canada and have had your whole life there. So am I correct in that you made the switch to e-commerce while like because of COVID? Was that kind of like the trigger of when you made the switch, or was it not really a factor? Because you were
Yes.
in
So
retail for a bit, right? And
I
then
was in retail, and then because of COVID, Manitoba Mucklucks didn't do pop-up shops the following year.
got
So I got laid off with Manitoba Mucklucks during COVID. And then there was a switch in distribution to Rayfine Enterprises. So Rayfine Enterprises also owned part of Manitoba Mucklucks. I hope I have that fact right, but they also had their hands in Manitoba Mucklucks. And then through COVID, there was one of the owners of Manitoba Mucklucks sold the shares for Pendleton distribution to the other owner, Ray Fine Enterprises. I
okay,
hope
I
that's
got
not too
you.
convoluted.
No.
But
I'm following you. I feel like it's always so complicated with ownership and everything, like, and
yeah,
especially missed a pandemic, so that's totally understandable.
yes.
Um, I love that though. Okay, so
So
yeah,
with that, I was able to help launch the brand under the new distribution. So it was a small team. We sort of launched it through COVID.
okay. How big was the team?
there's only like two of us to start.
Whoa, okay.
And right now it's still pretty
So a
small. There's
partnership.
only three of us.
Okay, okay. Yes. Oh wow, I love it. Yeah, definitely entrepreneurial when you said that in the intro. How was launching that in
It
COVID?
was it was fun, a lot of work. I was like very pregnant at the time, so they were like, "We know you're pregnant. We want to hire you to help." And then I went on mat leave like 5 months into my position, and then I came back a couple of years ago.
Wow. That's so powerful. I mean, that's incredible. So fun too. I'm sure your life was just a whole bunch of crazy and a lot of fun. Um,
Yeah, it was awesome. Really good
yeah,
experience.
love it. So how old would that be? Two and a half, maybe? I can't do quick math. Probably
Yeah,
two.
my son,
Yeah.
he's 2.5.
Oh, lovely. I'm sure that you
Yeah.
have your hands full with your small team and also your little one to care for. So extra thank you for giving us the time
Yeah,
uh,
of course.
here today. So we've been talking about Pendleton. Can you tell us a little bit more about the brand in case our listeners aren't familiar with it?
Sure. Um, so Pendleton is an American textile company who specializes in producing really high quality wool blankets, clothing, and other products. It always staggers me to think about this, but the brand has been around for longer than Canada has been like established as a country.
That's
So the
crazy.
brand
Wow.
was established in 1863
Mhm.
by Thomas Kay and his family in Oregon. Um, and it's really well known for its distinctive indigenous designs. Originally, the brand was Indian trade blankets, and those blankets were highly sought after by indigenous tribes for their intricate patterns and durability. And then eventually, Pendleton expanded its offering to apparel, accessories, and other home goods, which are also like now core pillars in the brand offering. One of Pendleton's most notable achievements that stands today is its continued collaboration with Indigenous tribes to create blankets that pay homage to their traditional designs and cultures, and they often feature intricate motifs and colors and patterns that really hold cultural significance. So it's pretty powerful. The brand is iconic and recognized for high quality and craftsmanship. The blankets, I have probably seven of them, I
I
think.
love that.
And I use them not just as blankets. Like if you have a feature wall in your house, you can hang it as like a decorative item, and they're used as heirlooms and even functional outdoor gear if you want to use it as that. They're so warm and so durable and really I love the brand.
Yeah.
I
I can
have
see
so
your
many.
love and yeah, appreciation for having them. It's wonderful.
Yeah. And I guess the brand has really evolved and adapted to modern tastes too, while maintaining its commitment to producing really high quality woolen products. Pendleton can be appreciated by any customer who values both quality and history in their textiles. It's kind of Pendleton in a nutshell.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I actually, so my family and I went on a trip recently, and my sister, while we were um just like hanging out in the house, unpacking, whatever, she pulled out a Pendleton blanket. And I was like, oh my God, this is so funny. I'm gonna um interview a member of their team. It was probably a month ago or so. Um, that she pulled it out and I used it. And it was so much fun.
That's
Um,
so cool.
yeah, yeah, it was awesome and very great quality. I loved using it. Tried to steal it from her, but she wouldn't let me. So in true Cicely fashion. Yeah, I love that. When I was reading up on your history as a brand, as a team, as a company, um, I love that you kept the collaboration with the indigenous community. And I wanted to know if you knew, like, beyond obviously wanting to stay true to the brand, like as a brand manager, how have you seen that influence of having different ideas and keeping that collaboration to date as a company, like help further your brand story?
It's really I think the biggest piece. It's like I don't know if I have the words.
Yeah, yeah, that's
It's
totally
such a
okay.
big piece of Indigenous culture, and we really want to represent the culture in a way that's well received and give back in the process.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I think that's a wonderful answer. And I think it's accurate of at least what I perceive from an outside view, which only can give so much. Um, a very thoughtful approach to branding and your and the story and the relationships that you all are forming and keeping. Um,
Hmm.
and I know I wanted to talk, obviously, a lot of what Maloma does is around branding and marketing because you're taking the traffic that you would otherwise send to a traditional carrier like UPS, FedEx, all that, send it to a branded custom page. So I always love asking guests, can you walk us through like what you're trying to convey in your branding? I think it very much parallels what we've been talking about the history and the collaboration with the Indigenous community. I would love to hear in your words, especially as brand manager, because it's up in the air sometimes of who I'm speaking with and who I have on as a guest. So it's always so much fun to have a brand manager. Um, how would you kind of convey, or how would you share about what Pendleton and you and your team are trying to convey through the branding to customers who are engaging with your brand firsthand or through multiple times?
Yeah, sure. So our branding aims to convey a sense of heritage and quality and craftsmanship. We often emphasize our rich history and tradition in producing premium woolen products, highlighting their connection to the Pacific Northwest and Indigenous culture. This helps position us as a premium and authentic, timeless brand in the market. And in the most recent decades, Pendleton has found many ways to incorporate Indigenous designed blankets that have givebacks associated with each sale. The American Indian College Fund is a really notable one that has been supported by Pendleton with millions of dollars in donations so far. Over 5 million the last time I checked.
Oh, that's so awesome. So impressive. Kudos to you and your team.
Yeah, it's powerful. I'm Métis, so when I feel real connection to these givebacks and the brand and the work that they're doing in Indigenous communities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that.
Hmm.
Um, I feel like branding is also one of those things. I'm curious if you agree with this. Obviously, not being a brand manager myself, but I work a lot in our branding, right? Um, do you feel as though or do you agree that it's something that is very difficult to articulate at times, and that some um, some areas of marketing, just in general, you can have very streamlined or aligned KPIs in which you can measure things, right? Brand stories, branding, brand missions, those are all very difficult to try and quantify in a number sense. So, a little bit of a tangent. First, do you agree with that it's difficult to just kind of speak to the power of branding in that
A-
it isn't as quantifiable?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Definitely agree with
wonderful.
that.
And
It's
then yeah, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, it's ever evolving and it's difficult for sure.
Love it. Love that you agree with me. Um, and so, okay, so part two to that question is how do you try and quantify or speak to the power of branding to a customer? Like, is there ever, I'm assuming in your internal team meetings, everyone knows the power of branding, but it's really hard to articulate. So, how do you try and convey to someone who isn't focusing on branding if they don't see the value? How do you convey that value that specific branding has for customers?
To convey the value of branding, so everyone is trying to
Yeah,
push
like
the
how do
same.
you yeah, yeah. So if we'll run a scenario. So if someone came up to you and said, like, I know nothing about branding, nothing about marketing, um, like why do you focus on branding? Like to the consumer, why is branding important? What would you say, if anything? I'm just curious.
Um, I think so they can believe in the company. So they can believe in what you're saying and what you're producing. And I think authenticity is number one, and storytelling, sharing the background and the history. That's a really big thing with Pendleton. Um, so I think just believing in what you're preaching is huge.
Mm-hmm. Love it.
And
Love it.
if staff are believe in what they're doing and they think they're making a difference and feel the connection of the brand with the community that the brand is being sold to, then I think everyone can get behind the same vision. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely does. Again, it's such a difficult question to ask, and that's why I like asking it because I like seeing how everyone's answers differ, especially when your main focus or one of your main focuses is branding. Um, so yeah, it answers my question, and there's no right or wrong, right? Like everyone, as that's why I preface the question as the way I do because I understand it's difficult to speak to, and I ask myself this question a lot. How do you speak to something that isn't as quantifiable as saying, drive X amount of leads from this, or drive, um, this amount of revenue from this campaign? It isn't as, at least currently, we don't have something that can quantify the impact necessarily to the campaign or to the motion or to the initiative as well as we can some other in some other areas of marketing.
Mhm.
I think though that leads to a good transition to dip out of the branding side a little bit and talk more about some more general marketing plays.
Mhm.
So I know we talked about the history and how you all started just by making blankets and then getting into apparel. And one of the things that I noticed was there's different industries that you all span across with your products. There's
Mhm.
obviously just depending on where a brand lies. Some brands do that a lot, some brands don't do it at all. So I wanted to ask, what is that like when you have different industries? How are you breaking down different marketing plays for each of them?
So Pendleton is really made for life and can be incorporated into every single day. I know I incorporate it into all of my days,
Mm.
whether it be hanging out on the couch with a wool blanket over your lap, drinking out of one of our giant 18-ounce coffee mugs.
Love it. Everyone should have one of those, right?
Absolutely. Too much coffee almost, but never
Maybe like
enough.
17 ounces, you can lose an ounce here or there. But the option is there if it's a Monday like today.
Yes. Um, and it's really good. Like the clothing is great for going on hikes, and we have really high quality wool jackets. And as corny as it may sound, Pendleton can be threaded into each day. As far as marketing them goes, I find it easy to feature them in, like, feature all of the products in one photo or scene. Like, you can have a blanket and a mug and a wide brim hat all in the same photo and have them really complement each other and speak well to each other. They often feature a lot of the same color schemes or patterns. So just having them in a scene together, it just works really well.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. The it as you were speaking, it just reinforces the fact of like you want to be cozy in your own home and um kind of like having that timeless feel of where you can have, your 18-ounce cup sitting on the couch um with the blanket on, or if it's a cooler or a warmer season with the blanket as a decorative piece.
Mhm.
And so I love that. I know that obviously with branding and marketing, the way in which you market products is very important. And the photography of those products allows consumers to picture the products in their own life. So I love that you
Absolutely.
brought up, yeah, yeah, trying to convey through the pictures, having like different products in the same picture so that people can kind of not copy and paste, but like mirror parallel.
Definitely. It's easier that way. Like when I'm deciding on a meal, it's easier if I'm like, okay, pasta on Mondays, tacos on Tuesdays.
Yes, yeah.
Kind of
Yeah, there's
similar. Or, yeah, see someone using a product in a certain way that you never really would have thought to hang a blanket on a wall before maybe seeing a shot of a
mhm.
blanket on a wall.
Yeah, I know my mom loves to put like needlepoint rugs. Like she has one that she has like hanging like on a rod. So, but I always thought as a kid, I was like, oh, that's so interesting putting a rug up. But now that it's like I have more of a sense of interior design, I think it's so, so cool and unique.
Mm,
Um,
that's
okay,
cool.
so yeah, yeah, it's a fun one. I have to ask her where it's from because I forget, but I know she loves it. So it means a lot. Um, okay, so that was a question I wanted to ask around industries and products, how you breach kind of across different um across different areas. Another thing that I noticed that was kind of unique, because whenever I'm doing these interviews, I'm always searching for different things, right? Keep it interesting for our audience. And just because I find it interesting because I'm in marketing myself. So um with your website, when a user goes on, or a customer or myself, I noticed there's I think it's a pop-up, but to sign up for the newsletter and get 10% off, which I think is clever because a lot of the times, obviously that's probably main communication is email capture, right? Um, how are you getting to convey about your branding and about your story and about all the different products you have in one picture together through the newsletter? So I wanted to ask you, like, how are you using email marketing to and like that newsletter and promos along with it? Because I think that's rare that you usually see, um, or I don't see it a ton where like it's like a pop-up, like one of the first interactions with
Hmm.
a new um a new customer. So how are you using like that email marketing and um that storyline to kind of entice your customer to learn more about your brand?
Um, we definitely want to capture as many emails as possible, and that 10% off is a little, it's a creative way to capture emails because it's a really big piece of how we communicate with customers and keep them informed about sales and new product arrivals, and it offers the customer those benefits. We also do giveaways sometimes, so those are communicated through our newsletters and email, as well as social media, but our biggest following is on newsletters for sure. They help us to stay connected with our audience in a really meaningful way, and they're relevant to the customer because newsletters deliver valuable information directly to their inbox. It allows them to control their content consumption, receive updates, and engage with subjects that actually interest them. Additionally, our newsletters offer a sense of community and personal connection to the brand, which is a big piece of Pendleton. And it's a powerful tool for communicating and engaging with customers.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. I know you're on the brand side. I don't know where the newsletter actually falls of whose responsibility it is on your team. Is it yours or is it a teammate's?
It's mine, yeah.
Okay, okay, I wasn't sure. I write our newsletter as well, so we can bond
It's
over it.
so fun. I love the creative aspect to it and like putting something together that I think is beautiful and that the customer will enjoy and that communicates relevant information and creates some
Yeah,
excitement around the brand.
yeah, yeah. I love it too. I try and like sneak puns in there all the time too, or have themes. I don't know if you do that. but try and make it interesting. Like if there's a certain season or a certain launch we're doing, like I'll try and play different things throughout the newsletter. And it entertains me at least. So I hope
Me
it entertains.
too. I do the same thing. I'm like, I must think I'm funnier. Maybe I think I'm the funniest person when
Yeah,
I'm writing the newsletters. At least I'm making
self-preservation,
myself
right?
laugh. And if I could make someone else like crack a smile, I've done a good job.
Yeah, it's definitely worth it. I'm sure you do. I'll have to subscribe after this so I can read all the puns and tell you that
Please
I'm
do.
funny. Um, yeah, so I love it. I love and newsletters. I feel like there's a more casual aspect to newsletters in that it's not as, at least this is what I think, like as pushy as a marketing tool, um,
Mhm.
rather than like a really hard selling, drip campaign or something of the sort. Um, there's really good drip campaigns that I think don't aren't super pushy, but there's also everything is balanced in the world. So for every great drip campaign that there is, I'm willing to bet that there's probably a less strong drip campaign out there. But I had another question about the newsletter and now I'm blanking on it. But it'll come back to me at some point. Um, and I'll blend it in.
Okay.
But yeah, happens a lot. Um, for the also for the website, I know that like obviously with Instagram and social media, a lot of consumers do their shopping not only through the website and would then encounter the newsletter pop up, but also through social media. So shopping the look on Instagram and TikTok, like TikTok store, all that stuff. I know it's way more common for brands to start to adjust their marketing strategy to shoppable experiences on social media. You all have a shoppable experience, correct?
Yes, we do. Yeah.
Love it. Um,
Instagram is our main focus, and we do have like shoppable posts every chance we get.
yeah, I mean, why wouldn't you, right? Like I like it's such a good platform to be able to meet customers where they're at. And I think that's where social media is so strong. I know it's perhaps more difficult to like or less traditional, maybe not more difficult, but less traditional or there's less of a history of doing so just because of they're new, right? Or newer.
Mhm.
Um, so I'm always interested, like, do you happen to know the breakdown between where customers are shopping? Does it lean more towards the website? Does it lean more towards social media? Does it lean more towards coming from your newsletter, things like that? Do you happen to know that breakdown?
Um, I don't know the exact numbers off by heart, but I can do my best to answer that. Um, Surprisingly, Facebook is out
Love
of
it.
the social platforms, Facebook is our number one revenue generator. Instagram is definitely a smaller piece. And then we have our biggest piece, I guess, in marketing and revenue associated with that is our newsletter, which is why we want to continue to grow that and um, continue offering customers and potential customers the benefits that are associated with the newsletter. And then we
You're
have
full of
direct
puns and
traffic too.
yeah, yeah. I love that. It doesn't have to be precise. I know that was my question that I forgot and I put you on the fly for it. So just the general breakdown is interesting. I feel like Facebook is always something that people harp on or like they're ready to be rid of, but it seems to be sticking around. Like,
Yeah, like it's doing fine for us. We
yeah,
love
yeah.
Facebook.
I love that. I also love Facebook Marketplace. That's completely different side note.
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah, yeah, it's just fun. So this is more of a personal question because I like to ask from like a consumer point of view every now and then. I know I shop a lot. When I shop online, I'm going to a brand's Instagram and like checking them out there. Do you do the
Mhm.
same thing?
Me too, definitely.
Okay, wonderful. I'm
And
like
then I
starting
head to
to,
their website, like often on my laptop. If I'm on my phone on Instagram, then I'll head to their website from my laptop.
oh my God, we're so similar, Cavell. I do the same thing. And I've turned this into like a little bit of an informal poll, definitely internal with our team, like asking if people will look at an Instagram before like ordering something online. If you're not familiar with the brand, right? If you've come across them before, usually don't do that. But because I see it as kind of like a security check in that, like, oh, this brand is reputable. I can shop with them. Like, I'm not going to be ripped off. I'm going to actually
Mhm.
get my order. Do you see it as the same way, or what kind of like checks and balances are you using between like a brand's website and a brand's social media?
I check their following and then I
Mhm.
go to the website and I check their reviews too. And if there's a photo of the product that someone is using, I like to look at that too. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
I sort of, and then just like maybe checking in with their customer service and asking a question about the product. But definitely Instagram is where I start
Yep. I
for
love
brand searching.
Yep.
And I'm wondering, I don't know a ton about this, but I wonder if we receive more sales as a result of Instagram, but it doesn't show up as Instagram because people are searching on their phone and then directly going to their
Bounding.
website without the sale being connected to Instagram. It's
It's a
kind of
question to look
off
into.
topic, but
No, no, it's perfectly on
just a
topic. Are you
little.
kidding? Yeah. No, I mean, that's one of the questions that I would say like is a good question to dive into because looking at our habits as a consumer could perhaps be very indicative where something would show as direct inbound
Yeah,
to or just direct traffic to a site, but could be from Instagram.
absolutely. Because our direct traffic is
Mhm.
high amounts, but maybe some of that is attributed to Instagram,
Yeah,
but
there
it's
you
not
go.
measurable.
Well, that brings us back to what we were talking about earlier in the episode with things, maybe aren't always like step one, two, three, aren't in a linear sequence. There's a lot of other factors that come into play, and that could be one of them.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, things aren't always traceable. Might not tell the full story. But if it's good things, and your traffic's high, that's always a welcomed problem to follow out or figure
Mhm.
out. So I love it. Okay, now talking about more marketing initiatives, I always just like to ask the general question: is there some like favorite marketing campaign or initiative or collab or project that you all had that like when it comes to mind, you're just like, oh, I loved working on this, or I loved how this all unfolded?
Yeah, absolutely. One thing that I have loved doing is hosting giveaways. And
Mhm. So fun.
it's quite a bit of work, but it's so rewarding. Um, we find it to be an amazing tool for growing both our social media followings and our newsletter list. I think in the last quarter, we've grown our newsletter list by 25%,
Wow. Oh
which
my
is
God.
huge for us.
Yeah, that's huge. Wow.
So what we do is collaborate with aligning brands and in an effort to offer more people the luxury and beauty of Pendleton
Yeah, I love it.
and just to win real fans that will turn into customers, hopefully. Some brands that we've worked with are like outdoor brands or indigenous brands. Leatherman is one, Manitoba Mucklucks, of course,
Mhm.
Leslie Hampton, Hydro Flask, Keen Footwear, so many more.
I love it. I literally have my Hydro Flask sitting right here.
Awesome. I went to Ottawa for work last week and I forgot my Hydro Flask water
No.
bottle in the rental car.
Oh no, I thought you were gonna
I'm
say like at
devastated.
home. No. Oh, that's criminal.
So
I'm
it's
sorry.
gone. It's gone.
Oh my God. No, I always have this thing with me. So I understand the emotional detachment. I'm sure that you
Yeah,
have
I'm
it.
gonna have to get another one for Christmas or something.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. You can do a giveaway to yourself, which is just fine.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so much fun. I feel like we've with obviously with tech, it's a little bit, I think, less exciting to do a giveaway than to consumers as a giveaway to have something. But we're actually currently running, which at the time that this airs, the contest will be over, but I'm going to tell you about it anyways. A contest, a design contest in which like any brand or agency can design their own tracking page with this new feature we launched. like it's a Shopify tracking page creator. Um,
Cool.
so like to generate excitement around that, had a contest that we're running until the beginning of October. This will air beginning of November, but kind of similar in that it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of work to set up on the back end, so I can relate to that piece. Um, Maybe not, yeah, trying to do as much promo obviously as we can through that, but it's more to
Mm.
see the value of the feature. Well, hopefully, brands are seeing the value in the feature and be able
Yeah.
to generate the excitement around that. But our prize is a like we asked a lot of our partners to donate something to the prize. So it's like packages of their software or um, gift cards or prizes to brand or gifts of brands that they work with, like Baboon to the Moon, like a duffel bag from them. So it's a lot of fun getting to
Cool.
put it together. But I relate to the I'm sure the stress before launching the giveaway and making sure all the logistics are right and
Yes.
making sure you're getting in front of the right people. It can be a task that isn't for the faint of heart for sure.
Yes, it's definitely a lot of work. We make an effort to make it as easy as possible on the participating brands so they can send us, they just have to make a post essentially and contribute a prize to the giveaway. And then I do the rest. And it's a lot. It's fun though. And everyone gets access to the newsletters at the end, and everyone gets access to the followers because that's an extra entry for people to follow a brand is an extra entry into the giveaway. So a lot of the people are doing that, which is
Yes.
really cool.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. A lot of new faces, hopefully, to
Yes.
laugh along with you at the newsletter, which I love. Uh, I know I just looked at the time. It has flown by, so I'm gonna try and get to we won't get to all the questions I wanted to ask you, but that's totally okay. It rarely ever does because once we get on here, time flies, or at least I feel like it does.
Yeah,
Um,
me too, actually. I was like, how are we gonna make this stretch out for an hour?
oh please, I'm sure
But
I'm
now I'm
sure
like, oh,
you've
it's
got that.
almost been an hour.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Okay, so can you tell me about the customer experience? Because we've been talking about marketing a lot,
Mhm.
obviously, but I would love to know, you have different stores, obviously. So would love to know across the US, UK, Canada, does the customer experience differ? First, yeah, just tell us generally, and then tell us if it differs between stores.
Sure. So I can only really speak well to the Canadian market.
Mm-hmm.
We have flagship stores in the USA, so Pendleton stores. And then in Canada, we have our online store and a bunch of retailers who sell Pendleton product. They get to decide what product they bring into their store, and there are retail partners. Customers in the Canadian market can, across the board, expect to find product selection. We don't carry the same selection as in the US, but we do our best to carry at least a little bit of everything. So we have clothing and home and accessories. And another thing customers can expect to find is online and in-store shopping. So through our website or our wholesale partners. The distinctive designs are also something that can be found across anywhere you find Pendleton. Those distinctive designs will be apparent and they're super easily recognizable. You can say, like, oh, yeah, that's a Pendleton. Quality and craftsmanship across the board that can be found anywhere. Customer service, we do our very best to offer excellent customer service, and our staff members are typically really knowledgeable about the products and can assist customers with their inquiries. If we don't know the answer to something, we do our best to find the answer and get back to customers and really provide that world-class customer service that our customers deserve. And then finally, promotions and discounts. I don't follow everyone's. I mostly look at the US
Mm-hmm.
promotions and discounts. They definitely have them. I think anywhere who sells Pendleton does. Australia and New Zealand have a Pendleton distributor, the UK, Japan. So I think around the holidays, for sure, all of us have promotions and discounts. But our strongest focus in Canada, at least, is Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Boxing Week, around that holiday period. There might be some differences in the customer experience between Pendleton stores, whether they be in the US, Canada, and the UK, and other various locations. But the core values of quality, unique design, and cultural appreciation remain consistent across all locations.
I love it. That was a perfect summary. I was getting lost in your description. Uh, that's so wonderful. Yeah, I recognize obviously you're going to be an expert in the Canadian experience, but I love hearing just about like how you're kind of checking like the other stores and seeing, what they're doing. Um, and I think it's super interesting that you have like like both the retail experience and the e-commerce experience. It's always because obviously the customer experience is also going to differ by um the access to like going to a store or a retailer to see the product versus the online experience. So one of the things that we always talk about with customer experience, just being in the post-purchase experience space with order tracking, and really wanting to recapture the traffic back to your site is the post-purchase experience. And a big part of that is education. So can you tell us about after a customer buys with you, what content, if any, are you sending them? I know we talked about the newsletter, obviously, but would love to dive into specifically after someone purchases with Pendleton.
Okay, yeah, for sure. We make our biggest effort to inform our customers post-purchase. So on our website and pre-purchase, honestly.
Right.
So on
Yeah.
our website, we have care instructions and information about the product and materials and how to properly care for it because you want to maintain your beautiful, expensive heirloom quality Pendleton products. So we just try and give customers every piece of information they need. Each Pendleton product is tagged with the appropriate care instructions, and we welcome customers to reach out if they have any specific questions about product or product care. We also in on the website provide descriptions about the designs and patterns used in the products, especially those designed by Indigenous artists. And some of the blankets even have like a patch sewn on with the story behind the artwork. And sometimes it's on a tag that you can take off, but it's the story and the history behind the artwork, which creates a lot of value and connection to the product.
I love that. Yeah.
Hmm.
I think the like care instructions is probably a piece that I feel like whether I'm shopping with a brand or whether I'm like experiencing a brand's customer experience through um just through being in this area, being in this industry, is that care piece, especially for something that um is a textile. Like you can I know because I grew up with my mother saying like you're gonna ruin this sweater or this like XYZ a piece of apparel if you wash it this way or if you dry it
Hmm.
this way, right? Like, but that isn't taught to you unless it's taught to you. That isn't understood unless it's taught to you. So I think
Hmm.
that piece of education around the care of the product so that it lasts long and so that you get the full um, quality of the product is a piece that sometimes is missed, especially when someone doesn't have a like a post purchase flow set up for customers that have just bought with you. Um, are you sending that sorry if you already said this. Are you sending that right as someone purchases with you? I know it's part of when the order um, is received as well.
Well, yeah, it's with the purchase, like
Okay.
when they receive the product. It's
Yeah.
on the description and the tag and it's right there and it's on the website as well. So mostly that. There is a follow-up email saying thank you for your purchase, but there's no specific care instructions at the time of purchase.
Yep.
Um, we also on our social media try and offer design inspiration or different ways to maintain your Pendleton blanket and care instructions associated with that. So we use our social media as well to communicate care instructions and that deeper connection, the story behind the blankets, and if someone is connecting more on that than another
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I love that. Yeah, it's always so interesting to hear the pieces that someone incorporates in the post-purchase experience. Like I love that you have the story incorporated with um their purchase as well, that you can like see what the yeah, see the direct experience, see the brand right then and there, in case, like you want to keep that on your item or keep that close by. Um, I love that aspect as
Mhm.
well. And I think it's really, I'm sure it's really special to those who buy
Absolutely.
you all.
But it's a big deal for us to communicate all of the valuable information that enhances customers' understanding and enjoyment of the product because we really want customers to enjoy the brand and the product and have it in their lives for many years, many generations.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we're all here for, right? To like make sure you enjoy um the products that you're experiencing, and they help you make your way through life, they make them
Hmm.
special.
Yeah.
Little bit of a pivot here, just because I know we are approaching time. Um, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, everyone's talking about it everyone always will be around this time. Just
Yes.
it's so pivotal for e-commerce, but just any commerce in general. So I always try and get to the inside scoop. Can you share with us any like exciting campaigns you're running? Yeah, anything that you can tell us that you're excited about would be great.
I'm really excited about the Black Friday and Cyber Monday, just the holiday sale season in general. Pendleton, as a premium brand, doesn't often go on sale, especially the blankets, which we will be having on sale.
Woo!
I won't give away too much, but definitely keep an eye out. Blankets will be on sale, and I'm excited.
Yeah, no, I can see
Um,
it in like your smile, you're beaming. Um, Ear to ear, which is so fun. I love it. I love getting the inside scoop a little bit. I understand, of course, that you can't tell us too much. Um, but yeah, that's exciting, and especially for your maybe you wouldn't agree, but like household items, kind of original, traditional, like first items with your blankets, those going on sale. Um,
mhm.
I'm sure will excite the masses, which is
Yeah,
all
it's
good
going
to
to be
see.
exciting. Everything will be on sale with some of our clearance selection down to 60 or 70% off in some cases. So it's rare for the brand.
Hmm. Yeah, so everyone's gotta keep their eye out. Check it out, BFCM. Is there a certain date you can share if people are interested?
Um, Last year we did midnight on Black Friday,
Okay. Yeah.
which I think is the third Friday in November. I don't know exactly what the date of that is this year.
So exciting. Mad
Mhm.
dash. I wish I could ask you more, but I'm gonna wrap us up because I know we have plenty more things to do today. And we've already taken an hour of your time. So, Cavelle, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been an absolute honor. You can check off the podcast, be a podcast guest on your bucket list now. You're absolutely wonderful.
Yay.
So, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, good. I'm so glad to hear it.